Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for joining us. Today I have with me Brother Tahir Imin from the Uighur community, who's from East Turkestan. And as we all know through the media that it is under occupation from China. So today he is here to share his story. I will give a brief bio of him, and then we'll ask him a few questions about the situation, what's going on, and how we can get help and how we can get involved. So please help us spread this message by spreading this video to your friends, to your family, and the whole world needs to know what's happening in China. Is it Dr. Tahir Imin? Doctor, right?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, inshallah, soon. So Tahir Imin he's an Uighur scholar of political science, and he's also an entrepreneur, as well as the founder of the Uighur Times Agency, which is based here in Washington, D.C. area. He left his homeland on February 20th, 2017, and came to Israel to study in Haifa. And while he was studying there, the Chinese government tried to pressure him to come back and actually threatened him that they will deport him, that they're able to come to Israel and take him. So he sought residency here in the U.S. and he got the visa. So now he's staying here in the D.C. area, and more than 20 members of his family are in concentration camps right now as we speak, including his wife and his 7-year-old daughter as well, whose whereabouts he does not know. So we'll get into those details as we ask questions. So first of all, I'd like to say thank you so much for coming here and joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So can you tell us a little bit about your background and what you were doing in the region, East Turkestan originally?
Before I have left the region, February 2017, I was doing business and cultural activism to promote Uyghur culture among the new Uyghur generations. We have a startup, business startup school. We have pharmacy and fashion designer company. We have also initiated some forums like Uyghur Knowledge Forum, and we have initiated Uyghur Business Club, the largest one,
Right.
30 Gentlemen Business Club. We have also did one scholarship for Uyghur postgraduates, female.
Okay, excellent. And why did you originally? Why did you leave East Turkestan originally?
I left February 2017. Entire family and friends, my daughter, all of them, because of that situation. Just began after the new secretary of the Chinese Communist Party to East Turkestan, Uyghur region, the Chin Chuangwa, came to power, and he started to arrest elite, Uyghur elites and rich people, and the people who are very influential on Uyghur society. So my advisors told me it is better for me to leave as soon as possible, at least to spend some time abroad, like doing anything like business or studying. I have chosen to study the relationship between the Palestinian brothers and sisters in Israel. I have chosen to Haifa University, and I went there.
Okay, because that's why you originally. So originally you did leave because of the pressure of the government.
Yes, we have some of the Uyghurs at the time. We have came to realize that Chinese government is going to crack down on most of the Uyghur young people and elites and intellectuals. They have already started to arrest the Professor Abdul Qadir Jalaluddin and the very prominent Uyghur literary critic Al-Qumrozi. All of those people became a good signal for us. At the time, some of the Uyghur government officials told their very relatives and friends that it's time to go somewhere else.
Okay. So once you were in Israel studying, how long were you in Israel for?
Almost 6 months.
Okay, and then what happened?
When I was there as a student, the Chinese police contacted me. They asked my number from my wife, and they told me all of the Uyghur students should come back, go back to China. I said, why? they said all of the Uyghurs, whether they are in Europe or Turkey or Egypt, and they have to come back, otherwise they will go and take them to China. And as an example, they have the Egypt government cooperated with the Chinese government and has deported more than 200 students
Right.
in May 2017, as it was reported by New York Times and other major media outlets.
Okay.
So I thought it is very urgent and immediate to go somewhere better to stay. So I have my friends in the United States, Uyghur activists and scholars. They have advised me to apply for a visa for United States. So I came to United States August 2017. At that time, the Chinese police said, we have very good relationship with Israel. If you don't go back to China, we can go and take you, or Israel government cooperate with us and arrest you. So I don't know is it true or not.
Right.
But at that time, as a student, I don't have any relationship with the local people,
Right.
the government, so I don't know what would happen next. So
Okay.
I have chosen to come to the United States.
Okay. And how long was the process for you to? Was it difficult to get the visa to come here in the U.S. or was it immediate, quickly?
At the time, it was very easy. At the time, U.S. Embassy was in Tel Aviv. It just took 7 days to apply and get a visa. It was very quick.
Okay.
And after that, I spent almost a month in Qudus, Jerusalem, and Masjid al-Aqsa. It was the Ramadan.
Right.
It was the Ramadan. I have completed the Salatul Ramadan, Eid, Salatul Eid,
Right.
Ramadan, في Masjid al-Aqsa, and then I came to United States.
Okay. And you've been in the D.C. area since then?
Yes, I have been living in DC area since I came to United States.
Okay. Are you studying anywhere right now in the university here, or?
Yes, I am studying
Okay.
university.
Okay, excellent. So let's talk about your family. I know you said many of your family members are right now in concentration camps. Were they taken after you left Israel, and as like a basically as a reaction to your going to the U.S.? Was it because of that, or had they already been taken before that, or they had started already being taken before that?
I really don't know how they arrest my stepmother, but I clearly got information that they have retaliated against my activism after I spoke to Al Jazeera, Atlantic, and some other BuzzFeed about my relationship with my wife was cut off because of the Chinese government, and then they have arrested my brother Adil,
Right.
and I heard that they have sentenced my brother Adil to 10 to 15 years. I don't know exact number, which is 10 or 15.
Okay.
And I also heard that they have sentenced my stepmother Tuhan to 15 years exactly.
Okay.
And I didn't know my mother was detained before in concentration camp, but I clearly know that they have retaliated and sentenced her after she was detained in concentration camp and sent her to prison. So far they have detained and sentenced my brother Adil, stepmother Tuhan, and my cousins Niaz Ali, my cousin Yusuf Qadir, my cousin Muhammad Yusuf.
Okay.
Yeah, there are a lot of other brothers and sisters in my family, relatives, not extended family, but my relatives.
Okay. Do you still receive some sort of communication from the Chinese government through email or phone call, like threatening you or telling you still trying to pressure you to return?
No. The last message from the Chinese police was May 2018. At the time, they have told me that I have to stop. Otherwise, my family members would be in more trouble. So I told this to United States, the government and my family, my Uyghur organizations here, and some other media outlets. They have reported on it. Since then, I haven't heard from any Chinese officials.
Right.
But on social media, some Chinese agents, I think, they have been doing a smear campaign against Uyghur activists, including me.
Right.
Some says when we are last month, I have made a video in Arabic to introduce Uyghur plight to other brothers and sisters in Middle East.
Right.
Then they have started a smear campaign that I work for CIA.
Right.
There is no Uyghur issue in China, and we have a relationship with American government. American government doesn't care the personal life of the Uyghur people.
Right.
We work here very hard. We study here very hard. The government agencies only work for the prominent Uyghur organizations, like how to what is your fact? What do you know about the Uyghur situation? That is their the cooperative point. Like the Congress, State Department needs some information. What about your family members? What happened to your Uyghur family members of the Uyghur people in the United States?
Right.
That is the very basic, very simple helping to American citizens.
Yeah.
But I am not American citizen yet. So the Chinese government doing that kind of smear campaign. Sometimes they send the knife, the photo of knife, as a signal that I would be in danger one day, like assassination.
Right. Right.
And sometimes they send photos of me with taking in a Congress activities with Han Chinese church members or human rights activists.
Right.
They want to show that to Uyghur, the public, that Tahir take photo with Han Chinese,
Right.
and that they might be Chinese agents, but still work with those people. But when you look at those Han Chinese, they are the human rights activists who based in Washington D.C. and have very good relationship with other Uyghur organizations and United States government. So Uyghur people saw that and they said, this person who sent this photo is 100% Chinese agent. So they are continuing this kind of smear campaign.
Okay. So since you've come to the U.S., actually two questions. One, in China, are there any Han Chinese people that are trying to stand up for the rights of the Uyghur population, or no?
As far as we know, there are very few people who stood up for Uyghur people, and they were sentenced for long-term prisons. There is one person, Han Chinese, called it Zhang. He was sentenced for 19 years because he shared on his social media account that the Chinese government, what is Chinese government doing against Uyghur people is genocide. He was sentenced 19 years old, and his wife was saved by the Chinese Christians in the United States, China Aid, and she was brought to the United States. But the majority Han Chinese cooperating with the Chinese government because first of all, Chinese government during the last 30 years, they have made very bad propaganda about the Uyghur people. They said those Uyghurs are very backward Muslims. They don't like Han Chinese. They don't like cooperate with the Chinese government. They said like this. And they also said the Uyghurs terrorists. They if we let them, if we allow those people practice the religion, they would be act like terrorists in Syria, Afghanistan, and Iraq. And Chinese government saying this campaign among the Han Chinese. This is the first campaign. Secondly, if Uyghurs are oppressed by Chinese government, the Chinese people also can benefit from this campaign because most of the Uyghur male, they were detained in the camps and they left their women, the young girls, and the young those people. And the Han Chinese, they don't like the the girls when their wife is pregnant.
Right.
So they kill their daughters
Yeah.
when before
Yeah.
they were born.
Right.
So the Chinese population lack 30 up to 36 million
Right.
the Chinese women,
Right, right,
because the Han Chinese want a family planning system.
right, right.
They are allowed only to have only one child.
Right.
So this needs women to marry.
Right.
So they can benefit from this policy. This is first. Second policy they can benefit. Most Uyghur rich people are detained and arrested and sentenced for long-term prisons, and their households, companies, business became owned or occupied by the Chinese government, sometimes by local Han Chinese rivals. If those rivals, opponents gone, the Chinese business would be better. So they can benefit a lot of stuff from this Chinese crackdown on Uyghurs.
Okay. What about here in the U.S.? Are there any Han Chinese organizations that are, or people that are openly supporting the cause and pointing to the genocide of the Chinese community, the Chinese government?
Yes, there are a lot of Han Chinese organizations across the United States, not only the Washington D.C. but also New York.
Right.
I have took part in some of their protests in front of the Chinese embassy.
Yes.
Last year, the Chinese Democratic Party they had a rally to support the Uyghur people.
Okay.
I made a speech, and they had also a 30 years anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre in 1989,
Right.
which the Chinese government, CCP, has killed more than at least 10,000 the protesters, young Han Chinese students.
Okay.
So those people are speaking on behalf of the Uyghur people to media and the American governments, but it's not enough.
Right.
We believe it's not enough. And according to a lot of media outlets, the majority Han Chinese in the Chinese mainland, they support the Chinese government oppression against Uyghur people because we have differences a lot. We have so much differences. First of all, we are Muslim. We have different faith and religious belief.
Right.
They are atheist.
Right.
Majority Han Chinese are atheists. They don't believe
Right.
anything.
Right.
Secondly, we speak Turkish language. The Han Chinese speak the Chinese language.
Right. Right.
And ethnically, we belong to the Mongoloid European race,
Right.
and they belong to Han Chinese race, and they can recognize at the first look. They say you are sometimes the people who are not familiar with the Uyghur people. They see us as a foreigners,
Right.
even inside China.
Right.
Ethnically, also we are different. Historically, culturally, everything is totally different from Han Chinese.
Okay.
So we usually we don't get married with the Han Chinese, and we don't eat their food. We don't stay in the same area with Han Chinese, but
Right.
everything is changed after the new policy began, the May 2017.
Okay. Okay. Okay, and I remember you told me that you were also in prison for a few years. So can you tell me why you went to prison and some of your experience, what happened there?
It was almost 14 years ago. In 2005, I have written an article titled Uyghur Culture in Danger. At the time, the Chinese government exported a lot of Han Chinese migrants from inland China to Uyghur region,
Right.
East Turkestan.
Right.
And, and we have seen so much Han Chinese. They occupied the good business, good places, and Uyghur culture and Uyghur identity was neglected, started to be neglected.
Right.
So I thought it's time to concern about the future of Uyghur culture. So I wrote that article. The Chinese government saw it as a very, very
Like an attack on their...
yes. They thought my article as a strong opposition to their policy. They have arrested me and interrogated around 3 months just for one article, and I spent almost 24 months in prison, around 14 months in one very tiny jail room, and 10 months in labor camp.
Okay. So I remember you said that you were tortured a little and kind of pressured in different ways. So if you can talk about that a little bit.
Yes. Any Uyghurs, especially the Uyghurs who believe they have a very strong identity, different from Han Chinese, they are used to be considered as a threat, even the public enemy.
Right.
In Chinese state media and every public occasion, they believe that the people who makes themselves different and the distinct, unique, those people are considered as enemy of the great Han Chinese people. So after I was arrested, they considered me and treated me as a very strong enemy. They have interrogated me at the first time around 96 hours, almost 4 days, 4 nights. I didn't sleep more than 2 hours during that time. They allow me to sleep 2 hours in 24 hours and then start again the interrogation. During that time, I was forced to sit a iron chair. They call it tiger chair. It was a very hard place. My 2 hands were facing, binded with the iron chain, and they interrogated one after another. There are 7, around 8 people. One person, he monitors my facial expression. One gives questions. Another writes, and some other 2 or 3 or 4 people standing behind me, taking some hand sticks, some other weapons that intimidate me or sometimes use it against me. And I was beaten very hard, yes, tortured. And I remember the second day of the interrogation, I asked them to take me to bathroom to convenience, and they helped me to stand up. I can't stand up after almost 20 hours. I can't stand up. They helped me, and I tried to take off my pants to have convenience, but I wasn't able to take it off because my body became the pants became a part of my body. When I take it off my pants, it took off the one level of my skin, and it was the blood of my the buttstock became blood. I remember it very clearly, and they gave me around 30 minutes to do that, almost 30 minutes to. And I spent that 96 hours. I can't forget forever. They used very insulting words against the Uyghur people, our religion, my parents, and other Uyghurs. They have used very bad words against Uyghur women. And they have used different measures to torture me, just let me feel very painful. I even have some scars in my body, which was left. They have used the handcuffs. This is my hands, and they put the handcuff here, and used one rope, and then they pulled it to there. Right. And I was fell on the ground, and they have 3 or 4 people pulled from my handcuff.
Right.
from the handcuff, and it was very painful. I cried a lot. I lost my conscience around 5 or 6 minutes, and then they put some water on my face. I came to aware that they are still before me, and they have also used a strange measure like this. They put handcuff on my hand,
Right.
like after that,
Right.
and they put one very large brick on my hand. After they put my hands on my back,
Right.
and bind my hands with handcuff and put brick on it. Just only want to know who told me the Uyghur culture was in danger. I told them it's Uyghur culture in danger right now. What we are seeing right now everywhere, everything became different from Uyghur culture.
Right.
We used to see everything in Uyghur style. Right now it became different.
Right.
So what's I thought? It's my opinion. So how did you learn Uyghur culture? How did you know the Uyghur history? I said in school, in book, and then one by one, after almost 10 years, almost 13 years, they have started to consider the Uyghur culture, the Uyghur people, Uyghur nation as a national threat.
Okay. I'm so sorry you have to go through all that. It's just horrible. So I want everyone to take in what he just said and then figure out that this is what's going on in many of these concentration camps that are in China right now. More than 3 million Uyghurs are in concentration camps right now. And we've heard the stories. You can look them up on Google. You can search for them. They're out there. And other testimonies, especially from women, of rape cases as well. And I think that even of assassination of small kids, not only being assassinated, but also being forcefully taken away from their parents and forcefully being adopted by Han Chinese people to basically erase their identity as Uyghur people. So this is a horrific case, and we all need to take some action, which brings me to our last discussion is many people are wondering, how can they help? What can they do? How can they get involved sitting here in the U.S.?
I think there are a lot of things that people can do to help the Uyghur people. First of all, the Uyghur bill, the Uyghur Human Rights Policy Act, is on the process. It was passed by the U.S. House of Representatives the last December, and it's in the Senate right now. Maybe after impeachment, it take actions on the bill.
Right.
So our audience, American people, can ask their local representatives and the senators to take actions immediately. And my second advice is to understand the real nature of the Chinese Communist Party. I don't say the China because I'm not racist. Our religion is not racist. Our people are not racist. My parents also did not tell me that Chinese are bad people. But I want to say that Chinese Communist Party is more than a racist. They are fascist. They are criminals and they are terrorists, the actual terrorists of the world, the largest terror organization on the planet. And so when the people understand the real face of China, they would realize that they don't have to buy any Chinese products that was sponsored by Chinese Communist government,
Right.
and to support the Chinese Communist government. So any Chinese products would be use it against Uyghur people. Many of them were made in those concentration camps and labor camp. The news came out lately that Chinese Communist Party has already transformed those concentration camps into labor camp. People are being forced to work for more than 14 hours a day without any freedom of movement. They can't see their family members, and they have to work under surveillance and monitor. And they are like the slaves. And the New York Times also reported that China created the laborers slaves in 21st century.
Right.
It's true, because if Chinese government free those people would be would take actions against the Chinese government. So they said it's better to take them, to put them under control in labor camp. I think people boycott the Chinese products.
Okay.
I also hope our brothers and sisters write letters and take actions any moment or to ask the Olympic Committee, International Olympic Committee, to boycott the Chinese 2022 Olympics. It's very important because it was boycott before by Russia when it was sponsored by Russian government. So it's time to boycott of the Chinese Olympics. The people can also help the Uyghur organizations. We have a lot of organizations around the world: World Uyghur Congress, Uyghur Human Rights Policy Act, and Uyghur National Network, Uyghur Times. All of them are working on behalf of Uyghur people. We need so much people, techniques, and resources. So we need support from our friends and brothers and sisters. Yes, we also need our brothers to make dua for us. So much people separated from their family members. It's true and it's urgent. It's not necessary for me to tell my story if it is not true. It's real and very urgent. And we believe that it's immediate genocide and covert secret genocide. So more people should know, more people take actions, anything they can do to stop the Chinese government from this genocide.
Okay. So there you have it, folks. As you heard Brother Tahir tell us the great details of what's happening in China and how we all need to take care of to try to basically help them in any way we can. The least we can do is make dua for them. But there are a lot of other good things that he mentioned that we can do, including trying to boycott Chinese products, reaching out to our representatives, as well as trying to boycott or pressuring the world leaders to boycott the Olympics in China, in Beijing. Are there, and my last question here is, are there any human rights organizations, Uyghur human rights organizations here in the U.S. that people can get in contact with? And also,
yes.
how can people get in contact with you as well?
People can get contact with me through uighurtimes@gmail.com. uighurtimes.com is our website. Also, they can reach out and understand more about Uyghur people at UNN.TV, Uyghur National Network TV. It's all about the Uyghur people.
Okay.
We have proof-based facts and documentaries and videos in different languages. They can understand it. And yes, we have Uyghur National Network, as I have mentioned, Uyghur Human Rights Project. They are working on behalf of Uyghur people and Uyghur human rights.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so thank you for joining us and watching this video. Please make sure you share it with your family and your friends and get the word out. We need this story to go viral if possible. And we want everyone to know what's going on in China so we can all work together to try to pressure to change. Change only comes when we all come together and try to make a change. So thank you so much for joining us. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.